there, welcome back to the final video of the week. This is of the John Wick series. I thought I'd do something fun after the state of the world, you know, and then, you know, variety of Asian movies of various sorts of depression ghosts. I thought it'd be fun to do a film where it's about shooting people in the head, a little. But no, John Wick's more than that actually. John Wick is famous for the headshots and the kneecaps and all the rest of it. The action scenes in these films are terrific. But it's also a film series based on very influenced by Melville films. The idea of the loner, the legendary loner who can do almost anything, but it's also very moody and everything's based on images rather than lots of dialogue scenes. It's a mood piece. It really is influenced by Melville, Samurai, stuff like that. It's just totally into that world of hitmen, assassins, and the loners, and they don't speak much, and they've got their own links to their own underworld that is almost sacred. So it's almost like a religious feeling to it, like everyone has a sacred respect for where they come from. This is a more comic book version of that. Instead of just being a world of certain losers who have the links to each other, or certain criminals who are fighting against the idea of being losers, here it's much more about a world that's created, that's based on a criminal enterprise where there are certain old-fashioned rules, certain things you can't do. You're part of a world and you have certain places that are safe spaces and certain spaces that certain rules you have to follow. There's a high table where people who are at the top of the world who rule over the criminal enterprises, and you have to follow their rules or you're going to die. So it's a romantic take on it, but still pretty dark. It's just a set of rules that are always fairly consistent and they always work really well, but it's introduced slowly film by film. They don't ever go into massive explanations. Each time you find the world out as you go along, as the story goes along. So that's what's wonderful about it, is you always feel you're finding out more of the world and more about the rules by the interactions of different characters rather than having lots of explanations. The first one, as anyone who knows action movies know, is about John Wick destroying the Russian underworld in the first film because someone shot his dog and stole his car. The reason why he did that was his wife, he'd been an assassin, he'd been viewed as a guy who they sent to kill the boogeyman. He's called the Baba Yaga as one of his nicknames. He's a guy they use when there's a job needs done that's almost impossible. It's John Wick who gets that done. He wanted to retire, so he did a job for the Russians, and that plus the say-so of someone important got him out, allowed him to leave the world of the Sitting World Assassins, which is almost impossible, so he married his woman and go and live a normal life. His wife died eventually of cancer, and as he was grieving, his wife sent him a puppy, so he lost something, so he had something to put his emotions on, so he wouldn't fall back into the old life. As he's starting to recover and he's still in a rage, he's still feeling angry, he runs into this Russian young man and his guard. These are the Russian guy is basically the prince of the city. He's a guy who will take over eventually, and he's a friend with John Wick. He likes his car, but John Wick insults him. So that night they go and steal the car, beat up John Wick and shoot the dog. John Wick figures out who did it pretty quick and then goes on a massive revenge spree against them. Any attempt of apologies for this is unacceptable. He's going to kill that kid who killed the puppy and stole his car. That's it. And of course, because the kid's basically the son of the most important Russian in the city, he has to take out most of the Russian mafia to get to him. Which leads to scene after scene of John Wick destroying them and slowly coming back into life. And the whole point of the film is him taking down the guys. It's his rage because his wife died, basically. I mean, it's his rage against what happened. He could have not done that and just bought a puppy, but no, he's enraged. And that kid's going to pay for what he did. And You know, you kill a puppy on screen, you're going to die. You know, there's no way you're going to survive that. And everyone's waiting to see you die. So John Wick's just terrific. It's just one of those action movies that are just perfect for what they are. It's not the biggest budget, but it makes the budget work really well. There's a hotel called the Continental, which is where the hitmen go, and this is the first sign of a bigger world. It's run by Ian McShane. Lance Reddick is his concierge who runs the day-to-day. And there's lots of rules they follow. You can't have any fighting within the Continental grounds. This is a safe space. And because John Wick's who he is, they'll like him there because he's a legendary guy who, you know, was basically one of the top guys within the game. And they have a certain affection for him, so they give him certain bits of information. But he still goes out and kills lots of people, you know. And it's just wonderful because it's like Keanu Reeves as John Wick. It's just perfect casting. It really works so well because he can do the action because he's very much a physical actor. He's very good at physical action. But he's also this big Langley guy who arms and legs go everywhere. So he's a very distinct physical demeanour. So it's not like you can put stuntmen into a lot of his scenes. You can tell he's a stuntman because he's a certain body movement that's very distinctive, as John Wick especially. And he's also got this kind of formal politeness that really works the character. The character will not kill you if you're not a threat. He lets people go. He tells someone to take the night off, obviously because he likes them. He's dealt with them in the past, he likes them, so he just take the night off so he doesn't have to kill them. There's stuff like that, and he says thank you and please and things. He's very polite until you annoy him, and then he'll brutally come for you. It's just wonderful casting. He's perfect with this character. He's just like everything that's in. It's one of those things where certain times an actor gets a certain character that's just well within his wheelhouse. It's just, it brings up everything he does best, you know, in one character, and this is one for him. It's just great. Plus all the other casting is great as well, like the kid Alfie Allen who you just want to see die. As I said, the people in the Continental are great. Willem Dafoe shows up as an old friend of John Wick. Michael Ninsquist is the villain, the Russian leader. He shot this not long before he died. It's a great cast, everyone's enjoying it. Dean Winters plays the Russian leader's second-hand sidekick, the guy who does a lot of the legal stuff for him. He's great and very sarcastic, and it's just so much fun watching them play off these other actors and then shoot them, you know. It's a perfect revenge movie. You're behind the guy 100%, you want to see him win. He makes mistakes, he gets injured a lot. I mean, in these films he's injured a lot. I mean, that's what one thing about the films are, he suffers to get through from beginning to end. You find that the reason why John Wick's so legendary is he can take pain and he can keep going while other people don't, and he's very good at headshots. So John Wick's great. John Wick is one of those ones that almost universally people love. Most people see that film and love it who like action movies. It's just one of those films that's like one of the high standard action movies of the 2010s is John Wick. The second one is really well thought of, but not viewed as good as the first one. It's probably my least favourite of the three, but it's still really good. It's still a terrific film. The problem is it's a bit too long, and it's not as funny as the first or the third ones. The first and third ones are funnier films, and they've more humour that adds variation to the story. And this one is a bit more straight ahead, a bit more grim. I think that kind of goes against it a little. But it's not humourless, there's lots of nice bits of humour, it's just not as much. And I think basically the first one had more humour and more variations in the stunts and the story. So the third one, this one, it feels much more straight ahead, and you feel you're getting similar beats again and again, which is a weakness. But not that much of a weakness, because there's still some great action and still some wonderful moments. And this one, because he came back in the first movie, he tries to go back into retirement because the person who helped him get out now comes asking for a favour because he owes him a favour because he came back into life to kill the guy. So he can't really turn him down. When he tries to turn him down, the guy blows up his house, which obviously enrages him. But he has to do this job, which is killing the sister of this guy, because the guy wants to become part of the high table, to be one of the main guys. And his sister's got that position just now. He does not want his sister to have it, because his sister isn't as bloodthirsty as he is, really. Even though she's pretty tough, but not as bad as him. And because of that, he wants her dead. He wants to be part of the high table because he wants to take over New York. And once he's part of the high table, he'll have the support of the High Council to actually do it. So John Wick goes and does a job in one amazing sequence where he has to go into this coronation basically of her as she becomes the leader of this house. So sneak in, kill her, and get out. Of course, at least she sees him and have a conversation before he kills her, which is a terrific conversation. But she tries to commit suicide first, and he ends up shooting her anyway because he has to for his job. And then when he's trying to get back out, he gets spotted, he has to shoot his way out. Then as he's getting out, the brothers' people start to shoot at him too, because even though they told him to do the job, now because they burnt his house down, they know he's going to come after them. So they try and kill him on the way out, and it leads to a massive shootout, which is just wonderful. Going through all these tunnels in Rome, it's just beautiful. You know. Then the second half of the movie is basically him going back to New York and taking down the brother. You know, and meeting up with Larry Fishburne as the king of the underworld, the guy who has all the tramps working for him and stuff. And it's a big, more expansive. You see more of the world. You see the Rome Continental rather than just the New York one, which is run by Franco Nero. You have Corbin as the bodyguard of the woman who gets killed, and he's after John Wick because, you know, he was a friend as well as an employee of that woman, so he wants revenge. And there's just lots of really wonderful stuff in it. It's one of those things, it's not as good as 1 and 3, but it's still really good. It's just not as good as 2 excellent films, it's just very good. So it's still really enjoyable, there's some great stuff in it. There's the finale at the museum is just brutality. But again, as I said, there's less variation in the action scenes in this one compared to the other two, and that's what probably slows it down a little bit, and also it's about 10 minutes too long. It could have done a little bit of pruning, but it's still wonderful, still really enjoyable. If you see it in 4K, which I've seen all 3 of these films in 4K, they look gorgeous in 4K, especially the second one. The second one looks really gorgeous in 4K. You can see all the details. Now we go to the third one. The third one ends up, because instead of the second one John Wick shoots the villain in the head on the Continental, he's now on the run from everybody. From the high table has put a price in his head so that every assassin in New York wants to get him, and he's on the run in New York to start the film. Eventually he gets out of New York to go to Casablanca and then to try and find the High Council leader to make a deal. But it takes a lot to get there. He has to go through his own Russian mafia routes. It turns out he is a Russian. He was trained by the Russians. And he has to use his last favour to get out of the home. And then when he gets to Casablanca, he has to meet Cal Berry, who he has a marker on because he helped her in the past. So she has to help him against her own will to get to this guy. And there's leads to lots of shootouts, chasing these 2 dogs, which leads to a great action scene halfway through the film. Meanwhile in New York, because the people who helped John Wick in the second movie, like Lawrence Fishburne and Ian McShane, because they helped him, plus the Russians helped him in the third one, the High Table want revenge on them. They think these people have showed too much spirit. They have to be put down in their place. And it sort of becomes an idea of war. They're waiting for war. It's called Parabellum. The subtitle is Prepare for War. And they're getting ready for a war against the High Table because the High Table to them have gone too far as well. So it's a preparation, and John Wick's kind of in the middle of it. He strikes a deal with the High Table, but then when he gets back to New York he realises the deal is not worth anything. It's not worth anything to his soul. So he fights with the Continental against wave after wave of High Table assassins, and what is one of the best action scenes of the decade. Just so good. Through the Continental, destroying these people who all have these these biker helmets on which are bulletproof, because they're sick of him shooting them all in the head. So then he has to take up the visor and shoot them in the face and things, and shoot them in the neck, and they've all got really good protection, and he ends up having to use shotguns to destroy them, and It's just a terrific sequence. This film's full of terrific sequences. There's more action than any before, but they always vary it so well. You've got scenes of him in horses, you've got scenes of him in bikes, you know, you've got scenes where he's in the library, where he has to beat up this mad giant guy who's even taller than Keanu Reeves, who's pretty tall in the first place. The stuff with Halle Berry in Casablanca with her dogs is amazing, where they go through this whole sequence and utterly destroy this one area, hotbed, where they make all the coins and where a lot of the high tables business comes from. They just destroy it. And it's quite good because they vary up, so when Halle Berry's in the film, it almost becomes her movie for like 20 minutes. So it varies up, so it's not always in John Wick all the time. So it gives it a bit of space before you get back to John Wick destroying people. And you've also got the best villain of the series, Mark Damascus, as he's been tasked to kill John Wick, but he's such a fanboy of John Wick, and also his other students, they all love him because he's such a legendary killer, so they're all really pleased to be fighting him, and they're actually saying how much they admire him, even though they're trying to kill him. And it's just wonderful. It's really wonderful bit of humour within what could have been a very grim situation towards the end. And the visual colour schemes are great. There's lots of green, there's all these lights as the Continental shuts down into battle mode. You actually get Lance Reddick, who always plays the restrained guy. Actually, give him some weaponry and starts blowing people away, which is nice to see. As a massive fan of The Wire, having seen that, I've seen him with a big gun is really enjoyable because you're so used to him being reserved. Ian McShane's great in this one as well. Getting bigger part as he's playing all sides to try and get his way. And the film pretty much resolves as the war is going to begin, and the Continental is going to, even though the Continental seems to strike a deal with the High Table at the end of it, it's a very tenuous piece, and it's obviously fake. It's obviously the start of the war, and they're going to be the front line with Lawrence Fishburne's character and his people ready to go to war as well. And so is John Wick at the end of it. He's ready to kill them too. He's had enough of them. So it makes you look forward to part 4 because it's going to be war against the High Table. This is a wonderful film. It just works. I mean, it's just one of those films that work, start to finish. When you start, you see him in a terrible situation, which escalates and escalates, but he's always doing stuff and thinking it through and working stuff out. Even if you don't know what he's doing to start with, it always pays off later on. Like, he always does, whenever he does something that looks puzzling, half an hour later it'll pay off. It's like, oh, that's what he was doing. So they trust you. That's the thing about this film. These films, they always trust you to be confused at some point, knowing you're confused, and it's like, well, explain later. And they always pay it off, so you always feel that you're in good hand, that they're always going to explain stuff you need to have explained. But they respect the audience, they let them be confused sometimes about certain things, and you will get the point of it later, because a lot of the stuff in the world is about explaining it, but not explaining it in an obvious way, like not having tons of speeches, just like, it's about little comments and about how people interact to tell you a lot about the world, but no one stops to tell you about the world. And that's what's wonderful about it as well, because there's this mood to it that's very underplayed, it's very understated, you always feel you're finding stuff out, but a lot of it is through very minimal dialogue, it's a lot of it through visuals. And then when the action always comes great. And that's what's good with this one, is they actually pace it a lot better than the second one, where they know a lot better to when to stop and let you catch your breath before you go to the next action scene and the next one. There's a lot more humour as when John Wick actually has to kill the guys with the helmets on. It's like, oh, really, I have to do this? It's like he's sick of dealing with these guys at this point. He just wants to get it over with. And he has to lift the helmets, shoot in the face, then go to the next one. And it's just really funny. There's tons of weird humour in this one. It really works. Because the films are a dark comedy. I mean, the first and third one especially, they work really well as dark comedy. Even the second one's a lot of humour, but not as much as the 1 and 3. So it knows it's ridiculous and it plays up in it, but it's also got an emotional core, like this guy who is going through hell film after film, just trying to survive. So they're just wonderful films, they're just wonderful action movies. They're the peak of the action movie genre in the 2010s. You know, along with Mad Max, Fury Road and the Raid films and some of the Mission Impossibles, these are the peaks of action in the 2010s. So if you've seen this, you've probably seen these films already, or most of them. Just go see them. They're great. Hope you enjoyed these videos. That's my last for this week, and I'll be back next week. So I'll see you later. Bye.